When the mortal realm's in need of destruction, you better call on the Lord of Seduction. End of the world, it's almost time, but I'm gonna do it right, the perfect crime. Right, what was I saying? Something about my hair, was it? Look, it's so sleek, you can see your own reflection in it. Wait, no. I was saying that I was on my way to light a winter pyre stacked sky high with a whole army of humans. Before I arrived, my pal the shoe salesman's nightmare, Spawn Seeker, had another pop at the big Drek egg, and by some quantum impossibility, he actually managed to wound the bugger. Too bad the float jobs weren't fatal, but that was good enough for me. My next whim was to improve my PR back in the old dimension beyond comprehension by constructing a shrine from which my increasingly large entourage could worship the geezer gods all the live-short day. Being that I am Slaanesh's chosen, for whom every wish is granted without delay, the fates twisted themselves such that I had already built it sometime in the past. Magnificent. So impressed were said delinquent deities that they summoned me for a meeting in the Chaos Corp boardroom at once, not of course realizing that out here in the old world I would have to walk hundreds of miles to get there, and, worst of all, kill nobody but my own toe-sucking thralls for the whole trip. But as any good businessman knows, that's why we have interns. I made my whole horde take an elementary school entrance exam and tried to find anyone who had actually scored above 0. Remember that you could get at least 1 mark for just handing in the paper not covered in bodily fluids. Eventually, one man rose out of the pool of drool with an astounding 2 marks. His paper was dry as a bone, and in answer to the question, "How old are you?" he had drawn a detailed diagram of the evolution of the universe since the Big Bang, and stapled to it a 400-page thesis on the origins of multicellular life. Probably worth an extra mark, I thought, and he had legs, so he was hired. Gave him strict instructions to tell the Chaos Gods to go eat a Skaven in response to everything they said, unless they offered me money, a promotion, or to tell me the password to disable parental protection on my damned internet. Are you telling me that you couldn't even get access to adult sites from computers inside the Palace of Pleasure? No, of course we could. That wasn't what the Slan man was blocking. Just some site with the URL jw.org. Just always wondered what it was. Now, with the office politics sorted, I could resume the killing of political officials. The Varg had stacked their massive winter pyre up to the stratosphere with warriors, so we moved in to show them that it's actually how you use it that counts. They did well to match my numbers, I first thought, but most of their marauders couldn't maraud their way out of a pile of washing up sponges. Very soon, the aforementioned pyre was stacked so high with bodies that the blaze turned night to day, corpses to candles, and buildings to bonfires, and generated enough skulls to make not only a throne, but a fashionable low table and footstool pair, a charmingly irregular bookshelf, and a series of Halloween drinking vessels which your innocent guests would remark are astoundingly realistic. After getting all the survivors to sign up to my fan club, I started thinking about slaughtering yet more of the pointless 5. But strangely, someone else was upstaging me. The less cretinous humans from down south had already come up and finished the job. And oisky poisky if it wasn't the Kislevites, the precise humans who the Chaos Gods usually tie together in large bunches to use when Nurgle inevitably expends all the toilet paper.
So soft, so screamy!
It was time to buckle down and put in some hard work towards the old world's little accident, before my reputation as a harbinger of doom dropped a few tears from Sephiroth to Kim Jong-un. To demonstrate to the world that I was serious, I thought it might be a good idea to put the biggest, spikiest and meat-shieldiest of my warriors front and center for all to see. Nothing says this chap doesn't tarry about his tax returns like an axe made of molten rock that stands twice as high as the man carrying it, who himself stands twice as high as 3 dwarfs stacked in a long coat trying to bluff their way into a gentleman's club. While my minions searched the camp for anyone who fitted the description, I struck out with my eternally damned divisions to go burn the Kislevite datchers to the ground. On the way, found another army of chaos to crush. So they weren't there to help you? Help? I think you need to read the Chaos Corp orientation brochure again. There were plenty of other groups fighting for chaos, but let's just say our communication isn't the best. so we usually just kill each other if we ever meet. For the best really, for all but my own horde are an embarrassment to the cause. Good PR to wipe them out, you see. Skulls for the skull dining table? Yes, that sort of thing too. You're getting it, I see. After those squiggish rot bags were last week's coffee, I finished gathering my hunky hewers, but the damn tides of fashion had already changed. Now the hot accessory to any Chaos warhorde was a party magician, a conjurer of cringe, a purveyor of ensorcelled fridge magnets, and damn the deplorable four if I didn't have the appropriate kind of traps to ensnare a passing fedora enthusiast, so in the end I was just as behind on the times as I was before. No matter, nothing clears the embarrassment of being poorly dressed, like killing everything that moves in a 10-mile radius and the complete molecular deconstruction of any structure that dared to rise more than 3 nanometers above the ground. Certainly improved the mood, as did news from Sigvald the Astute that he'd sat through the monotonous moot over at the Bateslings camp and had a special recording for me from the man upstairs. Sigvald! Sigvald, it's me, the mortal meatmongerer, the cup of tea that fills you with glee, your old patron and matron, the Slaanesh. And take me from behind with an anti-matted chimney brush if I ain't got a special little something for you, my boy. I've decided, on account of you not wetting the bed for 7 nights in a row, to give you a little piece of my sword. And I'm talking literally for once. You gotta go a few notches higher if you want to get anywhere near the old God-Clod launcher. It's a special blade, known in the old world as Sliver Slash. The finest sword this side of my belt buckle, I tell ya. And all you have to do to go get it is a tiny, almost imperceivably small favour for me. I might have just gone and tickled a few too many tummies round here, because there's an angry mob besieging my poor palace. So why don't you haul your hoard on up here and make yourself useful, clearing all that out so the cleaners can get in. There's a whole lot of mess up the bedroom wall and I can't get away with telling people it's a modern art installation for long. Come on, my boy, a fancy sword in it for you, and you'd make your old mucker proud. Alright, that's it. Stay awesome, bros. As expected, it was bad news. I'd just started getting into my gore groove when suddenly he wants me to head back to sort out his suspiciously gooey walls. Well, for the time being, I just ignored him, especially as another Chaos army had just arrived to try and destroy the human city before I did. Fortunately, we invited them over to our camp for tea and biscuits, but at the last moment swapped the tea for Coke and the biscuits for Mentos, then jumped away just in time to avoid the carbonated kaboom. Burned the whole province to ashes, and in doing so, actually attracted the attention of the man of the hour, a fire sorcerer who was out there skiing with his family, but seeing as we slaughtered said family and turned the ski resort into the world's biggest supply of charcoal, he decided he'd just come with us. Only problem was he demanded enough tent space to fit 75 regular men. Apparently he was bringing an extensive wardrobe, or perhaps he was practicing for the World Breakdancing Championships. Either way, we cannibalized a load of Huskars to make room for him, but just as I was neatly positioning my knife and fork at the 6 o'clock position to indicate to the waiter I was finished, there was another damned summons to the boardroom. I'm sure this time it was because Nurgle had sat on Khorne's hand and both of them were too awkward to do anything about it. All that meant was the new arrival was straight back out of the revolving door and off on an office admin adventure, while I moved north towards the Altar of Spawns, avoiding for now the human main force waiting in the mountain pass to the west, since I fancied a bit of a recruitment drive before the next battle. The new batches of warriors coming through were far higher in quality than the usual fare, so it was time to fire everyone, and by that I mean throw them into the fires of chaos, and get some new blood on the team. And they were damned good. It seemed my policy of only recruiting people who'd been previous winners of the hit talent show Chaos Wastes God Psychopathy was working. Arrived at the malodorous altar, deleted a large number of humans, and even decided that since I should really hurry over to help the Slaanesh, I wouldn't wait around to pick out all their gold teeth before moving on. Quite a marvellous display of loyalty to my master, eh? On the way, the report from our new spell slinger's first trip to corporate came in. They wanted me to kill some rogue Chaos Lord who, rumour has it, was wearing a particularly avant-garde outfit that I would be free to steal should I bring him to twisted justice. Only problem was that he was back in the opposite direction from the Palace of Pleasure, so I'd have to wait just a little longer to allay the legions of fashion photographers clamouring for my new hot summer look. As for the strapping sauce boss, I decided to let him go, and of course by that I mean let him go to the very pits of hell to burn for the very notion that I should both A. let him hog enough tents to house the whole cast of the Orange is the New Black reenactment travelling theatre, and B. pay him for his work. And then, with that burden lifted, I hopped the horde into a boat and began sailing to the Chaos Wastes. How many boats did you have? I said a boat, just one. For the whole horde? Yes. How many people are in your horde? Couple of thousand troops to start with, then there's the rest of the petulant followers and their pseudo-Viking families, 3 horses, 10 chickens, about 74 million all told. In one boat? It was a spacious boat. How did you build it out there? It's just rocks and snow along the coast, right? I can't believe this. Do you see the blood on the floor there? Do you see that hand twitching beneath your chair? They are the answers to your questions. One boat, the whole horde, all made out of the hopes and dreams of the next generation, who conveniently hoped and dreamed for high-quality timber, iron bolts, and sheets of canvas. Okay? You've thrown me right off. Well, let's take a break and I'll tell you what happened with the whole Slaanesh siege situation shortly.